Welcome back to Today in Combat. We are live from the Oval Office, and today we're talking about the UFC White House card because it seems to be the one that's on everybody's mind. Every fighter wants to be on this card, but there's only a select amount of spots. Donnie T seems to believe we're getting 6 to 7 title fights. I don't believe him because how could ya? But I still think you got to stack this thing up. We've heard a lot of rumors. Is it going to be America versus the world? Is it going to be just a bunch of random fights, the biggest bangers you can make? Who's to fucking say? But everybody wants to be here. There's only a select few guys that I think are almost shoe-ins for this spot. And we'll bring one of those up in our first spot. But let me just tell you how we're going to do this today, because it's a little bit different than our normal matchmaking Monday. I have the main card and the prelims. We're going to start at the first card on the prelims and then work our way up to that main card. And there's going to be some controversy along the way. I can guarantee that. But there's no better way to kick this bad boy off. The first fight on the card. A man that's in close contact to one Donald T. I believe he gets calls pre and post fight from the big man himself. And I think it would be an incredible way to start off the card. Derek Lewis versus Tai Tuivasa. A rematch. Now, both these guys have not showed out great. Derek Lewis losing last time out to Waldo Cortez Acosta. Tai Tuivasa just looking not so great against Talison Teixeira, but that's not what this is about. This is about starting off the card with a fucking bang, and there's a guarantee there's going to be a knockout here. The knockout king Derek Lewis taking on Tai Tuivasa, who put an elbow across his face last time these boys fought. It did not go the distance, and I think it's a great way to start off the card. I also think Derek Lewis is kind of a shoe-in for this card just because of the relationship he has with Donald Trump, and you got to fight somebody. You got to fight somebody, and I like Tai Tuivasa in this spot because it just screams fun. This fight, kick it off at the White House, started off fun. Now, the next one in, I thought, okay, what is the UFC going to do? We only have a select amount of spots. Obviously, you want some star power. But I think you also want to push some guys over. Some guys that you are thinking about maybe the next big thing in the UFC. How do you get those guys on that card? That's where I'm bringing this one in. And I think this is where the controversy starts. Because his name is Peyton Talbot, and he's taking on Aman Zahabi. Now, first of all, let's get you back into place. First of all, I think this would be a sick fight. Like, one thing we know about Aman Zahabi, and truth be told, I'm not super high on Aman Zahabi. Currently, he's ranked over Peyton Talbot. He's at, I think, 5 or 6 in the rankings. But he's a wild boy. Like, we saw this guy in a wild fight with Jose Aldo. We saw him in a wild fight with Chito Vera. He creates those moments. Again, we're talking about splashes, and Peyton Talbot is the same sort of guy. Bite down on the mouthpiece, smile when he's getting punched in the face, and a guy that I assume the UFC wants to get behind. Now, my only thought when I was making this fight is, would Peyton Talbot want to be here? I don't know his political affiliations, but he seems like Mr. Free Spirit, you know? He seems like Mr., you know? So I'm not sure if he wants to be in this spot, and I'm not going to disregard that he doesn't, because this is regardless of the president, an honor to be on this card, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I think this would be a banger of a fight and potentially a star-building performance for Peyton Talbot, who is climbing into those rankings. Like, just put back Henry Cejudo in a dominant 3-rounder. I think this is a spot you can look forward to, and I also love America versus Canada. We have to have at least one of those on this card. If there's one thing, the Olympics are going on right now. If there's one thing that we love as Americans, it's beating Canadians. Respectfully to the dogs up north. But it's just a classic rivalry, and I think we can take advantage of that here in a banger between two bantamweights. Another guy that I feel like is kind of a shoe-in as we're working up the prelims. This will be our featured prelim. The man plays golf with DT. Philadelphia's own. Pennsylvania's own. Penn State's own. Bo Nickel. And I got him taking on Joel Alvarez. Now, I looked at a lot of matchups here. And there's some, Bo's in a weird spot. because he loses to RDR, loses the hype, and then head kicks. I can't even remember who he head kicked right now. I should have looked it up before I started this. Head kicks a motherfucker in the mouth. Now he feels like he's back on top, but how high can you go with him? Like, do you want to stick him back in there with somebody in the top 15? I looked at it like a Roman Delete, that's not that fun. But you know who is fun? Joel Alvarez, a newcomer to the middleweight division. A guy that was dominating at lightweight, then took on Vicente Luque in his first stance at middleweight. And I think this is one of those things where the UFC would like to get behind. Definitely Bo Nickel. And I think Joel Alvarez to a certain extent. Ilia topuria is your current champ. Spain's making a play for a rising country in the world of MMA. And I just kind of want to see the fight. When I was looking at all the other guys, I was like, Edmund Shabazian, we could do, this one's fun. And I like the fight. But Bo Nickel, Derek Lewis, those guys, just to me, felt like they were going to be shoo-ins on this card. Just feels like they were supposed to be here. If the UFC White House gets called, it's going to be two guys. This is me in my Donald Trump matchmaking hat. Go, I want to see that guy. I want to see that guy. And I think that's a pretty great way to kick off the prelims. You got Bo Nickel, Joel Alvarez. That's going to be like a borderline top 15 middleweight fight. Peyton Talbot, Aman Zahabi, America versus Canada, and Derek Lewis and Tai Tuivasa. Just to see somebody get knocked out to kick the whole fucking thing off. Following that, we are entering the main card. This is where shit gets real. Where the big dogs come to play. Where the fights have some massive stakes. And we're going to kick it off with one that I'm actually, gosh, dang it, boy. This is my problem with using Canva. Hold on just a second. We're going to kick it off with one. All right, we're in an all-time fuck up. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're getting into place. We are going to kick it off with, drum roll please, a bantamweight fight. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Sean O'Malley. What a way to kick off a fucking card, right? What a way to kick off a main card. High stakes at the bantamweight. A number one contender fight. And I think the fight to make next. Sean O'Malley coming off of a massive win over Song Yadong. Umar Nurmagomedov on the same card over Davis and Figueiredo. Feels like Merab Dvalishvili is going to get the rematch with Petr Yan. Now, I did consider Sean and Petr in this spot. But it just felt a little bit disrespectful to Merab Dvalishvili. I think it's potentially still in play. We haven't really heard Merab's timeline, or at least I haven't heard Merab's timeline. But if that's going to be the fight, I heard Sean O'Malley after the fight say he's planning on maybe waiting it out, seeing what happens between Merab Dvalishvili and Petr Yan. I think that fight actually gets made sooner rather than later. I mean, those guys fought what? Did we end the year on that card? When did they fight? Yeah, I think we ended the year. That was the last card of the year. So you think maybe this BT Dub, this card's going down June 14th. So maybe we make that for like 3/27. That's at the Kaseya Center in Miami. Merab Dvalishvili and Petr Yan. But even if not, somebody's got to fight him next. And we got two guys back on a win streak. Umar's put two together now. Mario Batista, aging very well. We just saw what Mario Batista did to Lock Dog. And then Davis and Figueiredo, Sean O'Malley gets over. Song Yadong. I just like the fight. I think it's a sneaky little banger. Now here's where the real controversy starts. I'm going to place one man on the screen, and you're going to go, ain't no way. Ain't no way, but let me explain. And his name is Conor McGregor. His name is Conor McGregor. Now you're saying, Conor McGregor? Third fight down on the card. How is this possible? Conor McGregor? Conor McGregor hasn't fought in a long fucking time. And there's a fight at the top of the bill that I think the UFC is already planning, kind of putting some seeds down to make. And let me spoil that one for you, just so you understand who's at the top of the bill. Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje. I feel like this is the fight to make. We're going to come back to Conor. I'll set a little teaser there because we're going to come back to Conor because that is the big story. Let's be honest about it. Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje feels like the fight to make at the top of this card. And Justin Gaethje was on a press tour at the Super Bowl. Who was running the Super Bowl this year? Let me ask. Oh, yeah, CBS? No, it was Peacock. I might be wrong about the whole fucking thing. That's NBC, wasn't it? Was it on NBC? Hold on. Wait a minute. What was the Super Bowl on? Either way, Justin Gaethje was on Media Row at the Super Bowl sounding off about this card. Ilia Topuria posted that he's coming back. Seems like all is good in the world of Ilia Topuria. What network hosted the Super Bowl? Peacock. Doesn't fucking matter. It feels like the fight to make. Donald Trump said there's going to be 6 to 7 title fights on this card. There's got to be at least one at the top of the bill. And unfortunately for Conor McGregor, he's not going to be fighting for a title. Unless you're sticking him in there with Ilia Topuria or Islam Makhachev, it ain't fucking happening. And I actually love this fight at the top. Who's the biggest star in the UFC right now? His name is Ilia Topuria. And there's an American in Justin Gaethje. God, it might be a tough way for the Americans to end the night. But imagine the story if it's not Justin Gaethje somehow beats the unbeatable and Ilia Topuria on the White House fucking lawn. There's going to be a full documentary movie, Heroes Welcome, 2-1 Justin Gaethje, if that situation somehow plays out. If not, the star is still the star, and he's the biggest star in the sport right now, and his name is Ilia Topuria. And goddamn it, what a story that would be. Now you're asking, yeah, I kind of get the main event. That somewhat makes sense. I could see Ilia Topuria going over Conor McGregor in that sense. But who's the co-main? Who the fuck else is going to be over him? Well, we're going to go back to the same thing that I said earlier about Conor McGregor not having a title. And this one I'm actually not 100% sure about. And I think there is a chance that Conor could be the co-main in my perceived card. Because that matchup is Amanda Nunes. Oh my God, here we go again, folks. First set. Wait for it. We're going to ungroup. Bring her back. Amanda Nunes versus Kayla Harrison. Now, this one's up in the air for me a little bit, and it's not because the fight's not there. It's because Kayla Harrison's coming off of an injury, and I don't even know if she's going to be available to fight. And you can make the argument that Conor should be over these two ladies. All due respect to them. But this is another one. We're talking about an Olympic gold medal champion in Kayla Harrison, a judo gold. When we're talking about America, we're talking about a lady like this. Somebody representing. There's nobody better to in the UFC right now. Nobody that's flown the flag higher than Kayla Harrison. I just thought of a better matchup for Derek Lewis. And we're actually going to pivot. We're going to pivot. And this is in real time. We are going to pivot. Derek Lewis has a new matchup. Holy shit, I just thought of a great matchup for Derek Lewis. It sucks for him. It sucks for him. But when we speak of Kayla Harrison, Tai Tuivasa just turned into Gable Stevenson. Tai Tuivasa just turned into Gable Stevenson in this situation. 2 gold medals at the UFC White House. You're putting over an American in Gable Stevenson. Derek Lewis is still there, a name that you'd like to get over. You know, having Derek Lewis, and also a danger factor for Gable Stevenson in a UFC debut, taking on a guy like Derek Lewis who's got the knockout power that he does. An interesting fucking matchup. I wish I would have thought of that about 15 minutes ago. All the people that have already clicked off of this video said this motherfucker doesn't know what he's talking about. A piece of shit. They don't know that I matched up Tai Tuivasa. Got him out of there. Stuck in Gable Stevenson, but you do. And that's what makes you special. Now we got to get to Conor McGregor. But Kayla Harrison, Amanda Nunes. Now, if this fight isn't able to happen because of Kayla Harrison, I do think there's got to be some ladies on this card. At least one matchup. The other one that I don't hate, and hear me out here, I thought about Mackenzie Dern and Zhang Wei Li. I hate that here. I hate not here. Not here. And this is not right, but it is right. Not here. Not on this card. Because that's almost a shoo-in for Mackenzie Dern. Respect to the lady. If Zhang Wei Li shows any sort of fight like she has and dominates 125 as she has, it could turn into a certified ass whooping. And I don't want that. Not here. Not on this card. Conor McGregor, let's get back to him, huh? Can we quit beating around the bush? So Conor McGregor's a third fight on the card for a couple reasons. First of all, he's not holding the belt. Second of all, I think it's going to be a 3-rounder. I think it's going to be a 3-round fight, which I actually don't hate. For Conor McGregor, hasn't fought in a long time. I know I've heard in a past interview, I don't really remember where I heard it from, but he was excited about getting back there in a 3-rounder. He didn't want to do a 5. How are you going to put at the top of a bill a 3-round fight without a belt? I mean, you could. You could. But the controversy really comes from the matchup. Now, we've heard a lot of things. We've heard the likes of Michael Chandler. That got shut down pretty quick by one Dana White. We've heard Jorge Masvidal. There's been rumblings of Nate Diaz. There's only a couple problems with that. Jorge Masvidal, retired. Nate Diaz, retired. Michael Chandler just seemingly gets fucked when it comes to Conor McGregor. But I also don't think Conor McGregor fights at 155. I think this is going to be at 170, which opens up the door. Now, is it going to be fighting an Islam Makhachev? Fuck no. An Ian Gary, a Carlos Prates, a Jack Della Maddalena, a Michael Morales, a Sean Brady, a Kamaru Usman. Maybe Kamaru. But no. Who we're going to match him up with, and you're going to hate this because I hate this, but Mr. USA himself, Colby Chaos Covington. Now hear me out, because I haven't heard this one before. This is something that struck my mind as I was making this video. Colby Chaos Covington will be fighting Conor McGregor at the UFC White House. Now let me tell you why this makes sense. First of all, a winnable fight for Conor McGregor. Like, if you're like, hey, you're coming back to the 170-pound division, who can you beat that's got any sort of name value and is actually in the rankings? Like, you can't give Conor some bum off the street. It's got to have some sort of name value to it, right? Ideally, he's not currently retired, right? That's something I've been struggling with in my mind. It's like, if Conor comes back and he's not fighting Chandler, who the fuck is he going to fight? I think Colby Chaos Covington might be the perfect guy. At the White House, I think the build-up. The reason I love this fight is because you know the fucking build-up's going to be insane, and Colby's going to be saying some wild shit, which will turn that fucking little piece of Conor's brain on that we used to love. The shit talking in this matchup would be absolutely incredible. And it sounds like somewhat of a competitive fight. Like if Conor McGregor's old Conor McGregor, I don't think it would be. I think he'd wipe the floor. Colby's definitely on the back nine, as is Conor. But if you can get him into a fight with a name, with Mr. America himself, I mean, this guy at a press conference was in full like George Washington garb at one point. At 170, which I think is where Conor comes back, might be the biggest fucking fight. Might be the biggest fucking fight you can make that's at least winnable. The other options, Gilbert Burns, a bunch of other people that you probably aren't going to give a fuck about. Let's go for fun. If we're playing with Conor McGregor, let's go for fucking fun. And Colby Chaos Covington is exactly that. Now, I know there was some conversation around it's not going to be America versus the world. It's got to be, unfortunately. And truth be told, if we're looking down this card, it could be a tough fucking night. But if we're going to be walking out of the White House, the Oval Office, you're doing your warm-ups in the Oval Office, that's where you're entering the cage from, I'm not going to give that honor to some rando. There's got to be at least one American on each side, and that's how I play this out. Unfortunately, it will be America versus the world. Now, are we going to win them all? I think the likelihood is not. And if we're looking down the card, we're staring at 7 fights here. Let's just do a little bit of math. Let's take it from the top. The good thing is Tai Tuivasa is gone. Gable Stevenson is in. That's an auto win for America, baby. You know, one of them's going to win. We got at least one on the board. Can we agree to that? We got one on the board at the top. Now, Peyton Taub and Aman Zahabi. It's going to be a dogfight. That's going to be a beautiful dogfight. But I'd actually favor Peyton Talbot. I'd be surprised if he was the underdog there. It's either going to be, I don't think he's going to be a big favorite. But I would say odds are in his favor. If we just looked at it, I would guess odds are in his favor. Maybe minus 120. Coin flip. Same with Bo Nickel, Joel Alvarez. Coin flip fight. We'll give him 1-1 there. No. Joel Alvarez is a motherfucker. That's a tough fight for Bo. That's no sleeper fight at all. I think Bo's definitely the bigger guy. Joel Alvarez at one point was fighting 155. Hard time making the weight. Also, the reason I picked Joel Alvarez, I didn't want to say it earlier because I hadn't brought up Ilia Topuria, is because you like to keep those two together. You know, some Spanish magic's going to rub off on Joel Alvarez if he does somehow get over Bo Nickel here. Nice to keep those together. But that's another one that's, I think, coin flip fight. That the odds will probably be pretty tight there. Joel Alvarez got some nasty elbows, pretty good takedown defense. Bo's hands look better. Obviously, front kick, old dude to the face. So he's got that in his arsenal. Hands were looking better in the last fight, and we know he's an All-American wrestler. So that's always an option. I'd like to start off the card 3-0. I like to start off the card 3-0. Maybe 2-1. I think Joel Alvarez could handle Bo Nickel. There's a chance of that for show. Sean O'Malley, Umar Nurmagomedov. I'm a shook Stan. Trust me, I'll never say that he's going to lose to Umar Nurmagomedov. So we're adding that up to the tally. That puts us at, we'll put a random loss in there that we're going to lose one of these first 4. 3-1. Potentially 2-2. But I think for this fight, I think Umar would be the favorite. 100% I think Umar would be the favorite. And Song got Sean on his back, and that was a little worrisome. You know, I thought his defensive wrestling after 2 hard Marab camps would look a little bit better than it did. But we've also seen Umar get chinned a couple times. Mario Batista sat him down. Little Kazakhstani fucker that fought Ilia Topuria's brother. Beksat Almanak sat Umar down. Davison Figueiredo landed, I think he had one nice shot. I'm pretty sure I blacked out during that fight. I really remember none of it. But I think his chin's there for the taking. And Suge's a snipe. And I think he'll, I feel like there's going to be a little American magic in the air. At a card like this, there's going to be a little American magic in the air. Again, biased. This is like one of the only guys in the UFC I'm going to always ride for in Sugar O'Malley. But I think he can chin him. And truth be told, as good of a grappler as Umar is, he'll stand there and kickbox with you. That's a bad spot to be. That is a bad spot to be. Conor beats Colby, in my opinion. Conor beats Colby. I'll give that's an L. But honestly, that's like almost a good thing. As crazy as it is, like that's not a bad thing. I think the next 3 fights, Americans can lose, and you're not like, oh shit. Like Bo Nickel loses Joe Alvarez, you're like, oh shit. I want that win over Canada. All due respect to the boys, I want that win over Canada. Peyton Talbot's gonna beat Aman Zahabi. Can't lose. Derek Lewis, Gable Stevenson. But Conor knocks out Colby Covington. That ain't a bad thing. That ain't a bad thing at all. The return of the Mac. That's actually almost a good thing. So we'll take an L there. Let's call ourselves. That'll put us at 4-2. Potentially. Yeah, we're potentially walking into that fight 5-1. Whew. Oh, better night for the Americans. I honestly thought this was going to be tougher for the Americans. I put this together. I'm still shocking maybe I'm just fired up right now just thinking about it. And my true colors are coming out. My American pride, my red, white, and blue that I bleed on a daily basis is coming out right now. We may be 5-1 going into that fight. We may be 5-1. Kayla Harrison over Amanda Nunes. Wouldn't be shocked. Wouldn't be shocked at all. That's a freaking big lady. But Amanda Nunes, a tough cookie. The question between both of these is Kayla Harrison, how does she bounce back from the injury? How does Amanda Nunes look after, 2-3 years of retirement? Who's to say? These girls put a lot of time in together at ATT, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm sure they have some sort of idea of each other's games. Who's to say? And then I love the story of Justin Gaethje getting over Ilia Topuria, but the odds are already disgusting. Plus 500 or so for Justin Gaethje. What a time to ride out, though. I'm not going to ride him off. The story would be fantastic. But you get knocked out here, you got to headline the fucking White House. Right off, baby. And Americans are officially 5-2, baby. I don't know. But that's all I got for you. The UFC White House card. Let me know what you think. What matchups did I miss? Do you think Conor McGregor can actually headline this card without having a title, without having a true opponent? Like even if he does, like who's his opponent? I'm guessing on Colby. That's just pure chaos. That's just for funsies. But, like, is it going to be Nate Diaz? Is it going to be Jorge Masvidal? Or is it going to end up being Michael Chandler? Is John Jones going to get his way onto this card against Alex Pereira? A lot of questions around this card, and I'm not saying I'm right, but I'm saying this would be a damn good card. A damn good card. With a lot of interesting fights and some high stakes. God bless the USA. God bless you. I'll see you on the flip.